a conversation between two stalwarts of the field. Chatting on the theme Frugally Yours are Mr. Kumar Vembu and Mr. Chandu Nair. Mr. Kumar Vembu is the founder and CEO of GoFrugal, an enterprise born with the dream of serving the Indian market and understanding and addressing retailing challenges. He also co-founded Zoho Corporation and served as the president and COO of the company since its inception in 2004. He has over 25 years of experience in solution architecture, software engineering, network management, and retail and supply chain management. Mr. Chandu Nair has over 30 years of experience in the industry, consultancy, media, and information services. A co-founder of Scope E-Knowledge Center, a pioneering knowledge process outsourcing company that has scaled up to over 1,000 people before his exit. His areas of focus was business development and fundraising, and his passion was enterprise building and transformation. A key focus for him now is entrepreneurship and helping strengthen the entrepreneur ecosystem. This session is brought to you by Rage Communication.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the only session with another, kebab mein buddy, I hope. And we hope to have an engaging conversation. Now, Kumar Vembu often gets confused with his elder brother by 14 months, which is Sridhar Vembu. But both of them co-founded Zoho. Now, one of the things that Zoho did, and which he continued with his new company in 2004, GoFrugal, is that they never took external funding. So I want to start with that, almost this obsession about no funding. And because this session is about going frugal and making do with less, what is this obsession with no funding and where did this come from?
When we started, I was 25. So, அப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி I had worked as an engineer in TNET group in IIT Madras. Then HCL Hewlett Packardல ஒரு இன்ஜினியராக ஒர்க் பண்ணேன். Then Qualcommல ஒரு இன்ஜினியராக ஒர்க் பண்ணேன். So, I have never managed a product or managed people or managed மணி எதுவுமே பண்ணினதில்லை. ஸோ அப்போ எந்த வேலையுமே நம்மளுக்கு பண்ண தெரியாது. அடுத்தவங்கள்ட்ட போய் பிரச்சனை சொல்லி கேட்குறதுக்கும் டைம் கிடையாது. ஏன்னா நம்ம இந்த கடிவாளம் கட்டின குதிரை மாதிரி வி கீப் ரன்னிங் இன் ஒன் டைரெக்ஷன். ஸோ அதனால் முதல் 4-5 வருஷம் வந்து அது ஒரு சர்வைவலுக்கு நம்ம ஓடின்னு இருக்கிற மாதிரி எல்லாருமே டிஸ்கரேஜ் பண்ணாங்க. ஏன்னா 95ல் இப்போ தான் நீ போயிட்டு ஏதோ சம்பாதிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருக்க, அதுக்குள்ளே ஒய் டிட் யூ கம் பேக், திரும்பி வேலைக்கு போ அப்படின்ற மாதிரி. So I have to really, we have to survive. So it is basically that, you run to survive. ஸோ அப்போ யாரும் நம்மக்கிட்ட வந்து உங்களுக்கு பணம் கொடுக்குறோம் அது மாதிரி கேட்குறவங்கலாம் யாரும் இல்லை ஃபஸ்ட்டு 3-4 வருஷம். ஸோ அதனால் பணம் கொடுப்பாங்கன்றதும் நம்மளுக்கு தெரியாது, நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம் பணம் கொடுக்கறதுக்கு அப்படின்ட்டு. ஸோ அதனால் இது அதாவது ஒரு 5-6 வருஷம் கழித்து தான் கான்ஷியஸாக நம்ம வந்து பணம்லாம் வாங்க வேணான்றது டிசைட் பண்ணுது. ஸோ ஃபஸ்ட்டு 5 வருஷம் we were running for survival. அண்டு சர்வைவ் பண்ணணுன்றதே நம்ம முழு நேரமும் வேலையே பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கோன்றதே செலவெல்லாம் அவ்வளோவா கிடையாது. ஸோ அதனால் சம்பாதிக்கிறதெல்லாம் பேங்க்கில் இருக்குது. ஸோ அதனால் பேங்க்கில் இருந்ததுனால அதுக்கப்புறம் பணம் வேணுமா வேண்டாமான்னு கேள்வி வர்றதே வேணான்னு டிசைட் பண்ண முடிஞ்சுது. ஸோ முதல் 5 வருஷம் சர்வைவலுக்கு ஓடுனது தான் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் இதில்.
ஸோ ஃப்ரம் சர்வைவல் டுடே Mr. Kumar Vembu is also an investor. We saw him at the Pitch Fest yesterday. So that's a very different side of him. I'll come to that a little later. In 2004, he finally decided to strike out on his own completely and started this company called GoFrugal. Now walk us through this journey of trying, from building products for the global market to what possessed you in 2004 to start creating products for the Indian market, which most people said was a foolhardy thing to do. What was your logic?
Like as I said, I started my career with Dr. Ashok Jhunjhunwala. A lot of times, in the lab, in many of these things, it is passion and inspiration that helps you build products. So we have to, for example, connect India with telephone lines. So that is the project I was working on. சாதாரணமாகவே நம்ம இந்தியாவில் ஏதாவது பண்ணணும் அப்படின்றது இருக்கும். அண்டு இவரோட ஒர்க் பண்ணுறதே அடிக்கடி வந்து நம்ம இப்போது டெலிஃபோன் லைன் வந்து இந்தியாவில் எல்லா ரூரல் வில்லேஜுக்கும் கொடுக்கணும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி இது வந்து வாரம் நம்ம அதை தான் பேசிகிட்டு இருப்போம் அந்த மாதிரி. அப்புறம் நான் யூஎஸ் போனப்பவும் when I was working in Qualcomm, both me and my brother Sridhar, we were not good shoppers, but நிறையா விண்டோ ஷாப்பிங் பண்ணுவோம். ஸோ அப்போ ஒரு கடையிலையும் போயிட்டு எல்லா இடத்துலையும் மேட் இன் பங்களாதேஷ், மேட் இன் கௌதமாலா, மேட் இன் மலேசியா, மேட் இன் ஸ்ரீலங்கா பார்ப்போம். திரும்பி எங்கேயாவது மேட் இன் இண்டியா இருக்கா. இன்ஃபேக்ட் நான் இதை மாதிரி ஒரு 1000 ப்ராடக்ட் பார்த்துட்டு திரும்பி இந்த மேட் இன் இண்டியா ஒன்றும் இல்லைன்றதில் ஃப்ரஸ்ட்ரேட் ஆகி தான் நான் வந்து இது மாதிரி இந்தியா வந்துட்டு ஏதாவது மேக் இன் இந்தியா பண்ண முடியுமா அப்படின்ட்டு தான் வந்தேன். ஏன்னா 25 வயசில் நம்மளுக்கு ஒன்றும் பெரிய எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷன் இல்லை. போய் ஏதாவது ட்ரை பண்ணுவோம், ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணுவோம் அப்படின்றதுனால தான் திரும்பி வந்தேன். பட் நிறையா நம்ம அவுட் சைட் இந்தியா மார்க்கெட்டுக்கெலாம் ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கிறதே காலங்காலத்தால் ஒரு 5 மணிக்கு ஏதாவது ஃபோன் கால் எடுக்கணும், இல்லை ராத்திரி 11 மணி வரைக்கும் ஃபோன் பேசிகிட்டு இருக்கணும். திஸ் வாஸ் ரியலி லைக் ஒரு 10 வருஷம் ஆகிறதே இட் இஸ் ரியலி கெட்டிங் ஆன் யுவர் நர்வ்ஸ். ஸோ அப்போ தான் வந்து ஒரு பில் கேட்ஸும் நாராயணமூர்த்திக்கும் ஒரு என்டிடிவியில், பில் கேட்ஸ் ஐ திங்க் ஃபஸ்ட் டைம் இந்தியா வந்திருந்தார். அப்போது நாராயணமூர்த்தி ஓட ஒரு சாட் என்டிடிவியில் ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் இருந்தது. அப்போ பில் கேட்ஸ் சொன்னார், ஒய் ஆர் இந்தியன் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் ஸோ கீன் ஆன் சால்விங் சியாட்டில் முனிசிபாலிட்டிஸ் ப்ராப்ளம், ஒய் கான்ட் தே சால்வ் ப்ராப்ளம்ஸ் இன் தேர் ஓன் பேக்யார்ட் அப்படின்ற மாதிரி அவர் ஒரு கேள்வி கேட்டுட்டு இருந்தார். அதே மாதிரி அப்போ தான் நம்ம ரிலையன்ஸ் இண்டஸ்ட்ரீஸ் வந்து ரிலையன்ஸ் இன்ஃபோகாம் லான்ச் பண்ணாங்க. அப்போது அதாவது பிஸ்னஸ் இந்தியாவில் வந்து முகேஷ் அம்பானி ஹவு ரிலையன்ஸ் இஸ் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் இக்னோரிங் த டெவலப்ட் மார்க்கெட். அவங்களோட ப்ராடக்ட் எல்லாமே வந்து டெவலப்பிங் வேர்ல்டுக்கும் புவர் கண்ட்ரீஸ்க்கும். ஏன்னா வந்து த என்டையர் சொல்யூஷன் ஹாவ் டு பி கிவன் அட் 1/10 த ப்ரைஸ் பாயிண்ட் அண்ட் ஹவு தே ஒர்க்ட் அவுட் த காஸ்ட் ஃபார் லான்ச்சிங் தட் ரிலையன்ஸ் இன்ஃபோகாம் அப்படின்றத பற்றிலாம் அவர் ஒரு இன்டர்வியூ கொடுத்துருந்தார். ஸோ இது எப்படின்னா நிறையா தடவை நம்ம என்ன நினைக்கிறோமோ அதுக்கு தகுந்த மாதிரி த வேர்ல்டு கான்ஸ்பயர்ஸ் டு சார்ட் ஆஃப் மேக் யூ பிலீவ் இன் வாட் யூ வாண்ட் டு டூ. ஸோ அப்போ இது எல்லாம் பார்த்த உடனே நம்ம அப்போ இஃப் இந்தியா இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஷைன் and people want product and services at 1/10 the cost here, and why should I be solving the problem of developed world, why can't I be solving the problems in my own backyard? நம்ம மைண்டில் அது செட் ஆகிடுது அப்படின்னா நம்மளுக்கு தினம் காலம்பரை எழுந்த உடனே வேலைக்கு போகிறதுக்கே ஒரு கஷ்டமாயிடும். ஏன்னா இப்போ நான் சைனா கஸ்டமர்கிட்டையோ அமெரிக்கா கஸ்டமர்கிட்டையோ பேசணுன்னா கால் முடித்த உடனே ஐ ஸ்டார்ட் ஃபீலிங் கில்ட்டி. ஏன்னா நம்ம கரெக்டான வேலையை தான் பண்ணிகிட்டு இருக்கோம். நிறையா தடவை எனக்கு அது மாதிரி காலையில் எழுந்த உடனே ஆஃபீஸ் போக பிடிக்கலன்னா நான் வேறு என்ன வேலை செய்கிறதுன்னு யோசிக்க ஆரம்பிச்சிருவேன். ஸோ அதனால் இப்போ இந்தியா இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஷைன், நம்ம ஐ ஹாவ் டு ஃபைண்ட் சம் ப்ராப்ளம் இன் மை ஓன் பேக்யார்டு இதெல்லாம் தோணுன உடனே சரி நம்ம ஒரு இந்தியா மார்க்கெட் ஓரியன்டாக ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் பண்ணலான்னுட்டு. இன்ஃபேக்ட் ஐ வெண்ட் அண்ட் டோல்ட் மை பிரதர், இது மாதிரி ஐ வாண்ட் லெட் அஸ் டூ சம்திங் ஃபார் த இந்தியன் மார்க்கெட், இந்தியா இஸ் கோயிங் டு ஷைன் அப்படின்ட்டு. He told me we will only focus on the global market. The way business works in India is same as how it will work in the rest of the world. Then we can do it for India market also.
Then you jumped into creating a retail focused product. Now you believed the hype. Then it became time to eat, as the Americans say, your own dog food. What was the actual experience when you went to the ground? Because most retailers, you yourself said, are these people with pottikadais, these kirana types, with this kind of antiquated ideas. What were the initial challenges? I know you went through a whole lot of problems, and you also made the statement that every 100 kilometers, the retail atmosphere and environment changes. Can you just, for the benefit of the entrepreneurs here, tell us what are the kind of challenges you faced and how you managed them, and the pivots you had to make?
நான் எல்லா தடவையும் எது செஞ்சாலுமே சுத்தமாக தெரியாத தொழிலே தான் செஞ்சிட்ருக்கேன். ஸோ அதனால் இப்போ ரீட்டைல் ஆரம்பிக்கிறதே இந்தியன் மார்க்கெட் வாஸ் நியூ. அது மாதிரி இப்போ நான் மார்க்கெட்டில் போயெல்லாம் பார்த்தப்போ அப்போ இந்தியாவில் இன்டர்நெட்லாம் கிடையாது 2004. ஸோ ஒரு ஆன் ப்ரிமைஸ் சொல்யூஷன் தான் பண்ணணும், விண்டோஸ் டெக்னாலஜியில் ஒர்க் பண்ண. ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஃபீல்டு சேல்ஸ் வேணும் இங்கே, ஆன்லைனில் விற்க முடியாது, ஆர் ஸோ ஃபீல்டில் சேல்ஸ் போடணும். அது மாதிரி ஒரு கிட்டத்தட்ட எல்லாமே புதுசு. அண்டு அதில் ரொம்ப ஒரு பெரிய பிரச்சனை வந்து கையில் பணம் இருந்தது. யூ ஹாவ் ஸோ மெனி வேரியபிள்ஸ் அண்ட் ஹேவிங் மணி இன் ஹேண்ட் இட்ஸ் லைக் த மோஸ்ட் பாய்சனஸ் கன்காக்ஷன். ஏன்னா நம்ம ஏற்கனவே வேறு ஓரளவுக்கு ஸ்கேல் பண்ணி எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வேறு இருக்குது. அதனால் ஃபஸ்ட்டு நான் பண்ணின தப்பு வந்து ஐ வாண்டட் டு டூ எவ்ரி திங் வெரி ஃபாஸ்ட். பேசினாங்களே, ஐ வாஸ் மேபி வே டூ இம்பேஷண்ட். ஸோ அதனால் இமீடியட்டாக அக்ரெசிவாக ப்ராடக்ட் டெவலப் பண்ணுறது. ஸோ மேபி in the first 2 years I met like 500-600 retailers one-on-one. எல்லார்கிட்டையுமே போயிட்டு வந்து we want to give you 100% automation. ஸோ நீங்கள் கம்ப்யூட்டர் வச்சுருக்கீங்கன்னா எதெல்லாம் மேனுவலாக பண்ணுறீங்கன்னு என்கிட்ட சொல்லுங்கள். தென் அவங்கக்கிட்டே ஒரு ரொம்ப எக்ஸ்பெக்டேஷனை பயங்கரமாக ரைஸ் பண்ணிடுறது, நீங்கள் கம்ப்யூட்டர்லேயே எல்லாத்தையும் பண்ணணும்னு. ஸோ ஆல் ஆஃப் தம் யூஸ் டு கால் அண்ட் சே திஸ் இஸ் சம்திங் தட் ஹஸ் சேஞ்ச் அது மாதிரி. ஸோ வி கொலாபரேட்டட் வித் த கஸ்டமர் because we didn't know business. So we went to customers, we told them we don't know this business, but we want to build the best product in this business. So you tell me, you teach us business. So we learnt a lot, but trying to do too many things, too quickly with lot of money, without knowing Hindi, without knowing the cultures, of business. And when a person in Delhi says yes, what does it mean? When a person in Chennai says yes, what does it mean? When a person in Bombay says yes, what does it mean? I learnt the difference between what yes means. I learnt the difference between what no means. I would say, the best learning experience of my entire career was the first 5 years of working in India, because I learnt how diverse this country is, how many types of, how do Marwadis do business, how do Chettiars do business, how do Vaishyas do business, and how does a Marwadi in Chennai does business, how does it differ from a Marwadi in Bombay. So many things, in a highly competitive business as retail, how does each one do their business very profitably? What is their USP, right? So there is a lot of learning in that. So I would say if there is one thing that we did much better than anybody else and did very well is we continue to do is we collaborate with customers. We want to know how you are continuing in your business, because we know 2 supermarkets are next to each other, right? So we understand each business is unique. So we train our people to listen to every businessman's story as if they are going to learn about that business the first time. So we learn a lot from that. Because of that, we keep evolving the product much faster than the competition.
So in all this, especially since you're made for India, made in India product company, earning 1/10 of what you would earn for the same effort, time, energy as you would, say, in the US, it must have been a real pain in the wrong place to acquire customers, manage them, and make them profitable for you. I remember somewhere you talked about this 4 A's approach: affordability, access, availability, and awareness. What exactly was this approach that you identified, and how exactly did you kind of implement it on the ground with your people?
One is, like the customer's ability to pay. Another thing is customer's expectation on the service. So that means, India is primarily a, do-it-for-me market. Software is not seen as a strategic tool to run the business. So software is seen as a, an operational convenience tool. Right? That was the way customers were looking at software in 2004. See, the market is changing. Today, more and more aspirational businessmen are looking at software as a strategic partner. So in that model, our biggest challenge was always how do we fulfill the service aspirations of customers? Because, service, like this market is, there were lots of, you can call them local vendors, right? Meaning people who service a very small neighborhood. So every one of my salesmen is actually competing with a business owner. Most of the things we say differentiation are differentiation in our mind. They are not, like must-haves from a customer point of view. So it has been really tough, but I would say patience and persistence, right? Because, were very important. What helped us, wherever we had some momentum, wherever we had some value, it is because, the market was changing very fast. Like VAT got introduced, then recently GST got introduced. In between there were so many changes in terms of newer technologies coming into retail. There were organized retailers coming in and, their consumers expecting better shopping experience. So the store owners are forced to invest on, technology and shopping experience. For example, if the market had remained the same, I don't think we would have even had a game on our hand, right? Because competing on price was not our USP, right? The power or forces of the market is the most powerful.
Would you say, therefore, if you take the forces of the market, that the mobile phone and the fact that most small business owners are happy doing even some of these things on the mobile phone as opposed to a laptop or desktop, has that actually been a game changer for you in some sense that your product now being rendered on the mobile and being a SaaS, smart, connected solution can accelerate the pace from here on?
Definitely, definitely. They are all, because we keep investing on new products, we keep investing on better customer experience, we keep investing on more automation and simplicity, right? We keep investing on quality, right? So definitely those are the things that are helping us get, better and better revenue and lesser cost of servicing and cost of sales.
Now, one of the things which I found very puzzling, and you must give us throw some light. The most celebrated example for me is like WhatsApp. 32 people or something, I think, employees, and 19 billion or so was the valuation at which it got sold to Facebook. In India, a product company like yours has 200 employees. Now, why is this so? Is this do-it-for-me market as opposed to whatever else is it? Or is it we are just more inefficient? What is it?
To compare with something like WhatsApp and a B2B software company. Like if you see a WhatsApp, how many sort of features that are there in the product, right? And what do customers do, right? You probably do, to send the message, you repeat the same action multiple times in a day. Right? If you make a voice call, you send a message, you make a voice call, you make a video call, you now make a group call, right? You manage your contact, you manage groups. So there are really very few use cases, but you do them repeatedly. Whereas if you take any B2B software company, for example, if you take GoFrugal, what does a retailer have to do to run his business? So maybe he has to do 100 operations repeatedly in a day. Maybe he has to do another 100 operations repeatedly in a week. Maybe they have to do another 50 operations repeatedly in a month. Another 50 operations repeatedly in a quarter, right? So the number of business processes that are automated, the number of tasks that are done, the number of roles and people that will be using it. So the complexity of the software is much, much higher. I can definitely tell you our people definitely work harder than people at Freshworks or Zoho, right? Because we serve the Indian market and the customers are a lot more demanding, right? So the work, effort, return on effort, I definitely think the return on effort is the lowest for when people serve markets like India. So it is actually determined not by what we do, it is determined by what is the paying capacity of your customers and how do the customers value what you give.
So if there are entrepreneurs here, and quite a few are there and quite a few have products for the Indian market, would you tell them with a straight face and with a, go for it, buddy, go for the Indian market, or would you tell them, no, even given this opportunity cost, go for the overseas market? What would you tell them, honestly?
The challenges are different. So, okay, why do I do a product for Indian market? So I believe if we can win India, we can definitely win the world when the digital transformation happens. So as far as retail business is concerned, I can look at it as, will GoFrugal be the most efficient and the most innovative software provider for retail? Right? So in fact, when I started this company, Mittal was acquiring steel companies across the world. Right? Whereas Americans were innovating on creating Facebook and WhatsApp. Because nobody wanted to run a steel plant in those countries. Right? Companies were exiting. Whereas Indian companies were going and buying those companies. So there are some industries where the developed countries, there they are not able to get people to run them. We can go and say, okay, let us go and build a WhatsApp competitor in India. Then, do we have an ecosystem to build it here? And today, maybe that ecosystem doesn't exist here. Right? If you want to build the, what is contemporary in a developed market right here today. Whereas we can say, 10 years later, like almost the entire world, the entire retail stores will be run by Indian software company. Because the top talent in America today wants to either do a consumer focused business or in the financial market. Right? Whereas, in 10 years from today, we can do that. Because every quarter now, we start business in 2-3 countries. In fact, GoFrugal never focused on America or Canada markets, but now we are getting customers from those markets, inbound inquiries. So that means, I never thought that our product will be relevant to the US market. But I am myself surprised, why are these customers coming and buying our product?
So if I got the numbers right, you've got 25,000 customers across 55 countries right now?
Yeah.
And really speaking, it all happened without you consciously making an effort to get them, or how did it happen?
Except one country, India, we put lot of effort. I would say hardest market and very difficult. The remaining 54 countries, Indians who have, customers sort of, looked at our product, the depth and breadth of the solution, and they are buying themselves because those markets are probably underserved or don't have the right vendors or whatever. So most of the other countries, sales happened almost by itself with less effort by us.
Okay, so if anybody, again, I come back to that question, okay, irritating you, with what should an entrepreneur in software products in India, what are the 3-4 things that he really needs to do if he wants to make money at the end of the day, not just acquire a good name, where he not only learns but also earns?
Yeah, see, definitely doing a product for Indian market must be a long term, because making money on, every month is not easy. Meaning, see, the problem, when we started with, selling to the US market, the big companies in the US, actually, you can say they are willing to fund some innovation or funding, do experiments, right? So the big companies sort of don't, kill small companies, right? Whereas my experience with the big companies in India is, they say, I am big, so give it to me free. So they have zero empathy. Be your first customer, so give it to me for free. Or their decision cycles are so long that this entrepreneur keeps making visit to them and they get killed in the process. Right? So if for startups to be, sort of, look at Indian market very seriously, then I think the large companies in India have to have some fund for experiments, right? Something they have, some, budget, discretionary budget for people to try out new things, right? Whereas this risk-averse mindset, right? We want to make sure, like there used to be a saying in the US, right? Like nobody gets fired for buying the big blue, right? So that kind of mindset applied to every simple small purchase means that, who will support the startup. So I can say in our initial years, many of the large companies in US, what is big money for us is a small change for them, but they took the risk and bought some products and some tools. So that have to come, So entrepreneurs have to enter markets where they know, the sales cycle is, sort of a healthy sales cycle, and customers have an open mind and they have the budget to experiment. And if I have to convince 10 people to sell my product, and I would say for an entrepreneur who is self-funded, that's not the market he should enter. Because any company, any place, convincing 10 people to buy one product is not going to happen overnight, right? And the second important thing is this number of founders and what are the founder competence. So if people start in India, right, you can probably start with, if there are like 10 competencies required to manage a business. If you do it for the US market, maybe you have 3 or 4 competencies. You can sort of build the other 6 competencies because either customers give you the time and teach you, or you will get the time to build it because you are making 10 times more money. Whereas when you work with Indian customer, every weakness will be exposed faster than you think. So that means you have to make sure, like you have all your bases covered, before you hit the market. Because if you have any weakness, in Indian market, you stand exposed faster than you think.
Okay, I'm ending very quickly with the last question. Little personal question, I hope you don't mind me asking it. It's been of 12, 14 years since you started branching out on your own away from Zoho. And your brother has meanwhile grown Zoho to a bigger global company. You must be often getting compared, right?
Yeah, actually, good question. See, Sridhar and me, I used to follow him in school, meaning I was just 1 year younger to him, right? And I think from the time I remember, he has been an outlier in the sense that, like we studied in Tamil medium schools till 10th. So where if the second ranked person gets 320 out of 500, he used to get 480 out of 500. So that's the kind of gap, right? And I always used to be the number 3 in the class, in the same class. So wherever I have gone, engineering college, then I studied in IIT, everywhere I'm happy with being among the top. So don't stress myself too much. So, but these teachers are always, at home, relatives, teacher, everybody, this comparison was always there. So one thing I must thank God is, from a very young age, he has, I was probably born to ignore the expectation of others. Right? So whenever they compare, and people some of the teachers used to be so attached to me, and they will always want me to do better than him. They think they are motivating me. Right? So, but I have never done anything because others had an expectation, except one thing, which is when others trust me. Right? So, for example, my mother had never made, till today I was telling my daughter one day, so many people have made that comparison, but my mother has never compared any of her 5 kids. We are 5, 4 brothers and a sister, one with another. Right? So she has that trust on everybody. Right? So this expectation and comparison actually taught me one very important, when I started the business also, because always this comparison is there, right? So one thing I realized is, even when you have the same parent, even when you grow up, study in the same school, even when you grow up in the same house, right? Each person is unique, right? So what helped me when I started a company is, I sort of implicitly understood that each person in my team is unique. They all come with, their own strength, their own weakness, their own baggage. So it is best to listen to them, to each person, and not have, one rule that applies to everybody. So that is what I learned from this expectation, but I never took this expectation seriously.
Wonderful.
So I live my life.
Wonderful. And I think on that unique note, let us end this fireside chat. Forward to more interactions with him. Thank you very much, Kumar Vembu, for a fascinating interaction.